Hi there, welcome back. I'm Jamie. Welcome to the shed again. We're still working on the Myford ML8 wood turning lathe that the camera is currently sitting on. After the last video, I did take some of the paint off of some of the attachments. I'll get to that in a second. Today though, we're going to be taking apart the actual lathe itself, taking the bed off the headstock and the tail rest over that end. And we'll see about getting the paint off of that as well. So I'm just going to flip the camera around, so I'll see you around there. So here we are with the lathe. As you remember in the last video, we cleaned up the bed, the cabinet of it. We cleaned up all the dirt, got rid of all that. But today we're going to be taking this part, this, and this part off. I mean, they're already disconnected. I just have to lift them off and then take them apart. Here are the attachments that I took the paint off of. I'll add in some time-lapse footage of this. I need to clean up that face though, because it used to have that yellow paint on it and it was all just chipping and it was filthy and it was disgusting. I used a few different methods to see which would work best. I used an old chisel that's blunt to try and scrape it off. That worked quite well. I used some paint and varnish stripper there. That also worked quite well. But I think the best method I used was using the pillar drill and a wire brush on it. So, like I said, I'll put that footage in, let you have a look at it, but let's get to this lathe afterwards. Right, here we go then. Let's get this taken apart. Shift that away. Right. Now there should be some fixings underneath here. There is not a fixing underneath there, but there is a couple of grub screws up this end that I could get out, which will be handy, because then I could get the headstock off of the bed. So let's see what size I'm going to need. And being that it is an old tool, it's going to probably be Imperial. So let's hope I've got enough Imperial tools. Oh, look at that! First time. Let's get these grub screws out of it. Should I take them out completely or leave them in a bit so I don't lose them? I have a habit of losing things if I don't keep them in the same place. Right, so that should be those grub screws. Released. I do have to take them out or they go right through the bed. Let's just take this one right out and we'll see. Or is there a second one? No, that's just the marking hole. Copper plate so as not to damage it with the threads. Get this one out completely as well. The inside of this headstock is, to be honest, as you would expect of a wood turning lathe that has been used. Filthy. Now this belt is not the original belt. I would like to put the original belt back on it, but from what I've read, the original belts slipped a lot, so I think I'm just going to stick with this one because it looks like it's still got plenty of wear left on it. And from what I could see, it still worked. Right, so how do we get this out now? Because it looks like it's sealed on with paint. So I may have to time lapse this. Right, let's have a look and see. Because that one's got a bolt on the inside, so I'm going to have to get a spanner down in there somehow. Goodness knows how, but I'm sure I'll manage. Where's my mallet actually? Here's my mallet. Rubber mallet. That's budging it. Slowly but surely that is budging it. That is also budging the whole thing. I'm not going to hit up there because that's the dry end. Oh, shit. This does not look like it's going to go easily at all. Probably won't go easily because it's rusted inside it as well. So once I get past that and get it moving a bit, it should come out easier, so I can clean it all up. But yeah, there's a lot of surface rust on this, and what looks like the same stuff that was ripped down here on the top of the cabinet. Oh, that comes off. That's just a tin lid. The onion boy. Can you see that? The onion boy. It's difficult because I'm right-handed. It's coming out, but I'm going to be hitting that wall. Keep hitting it that way. I'm just going to hoover all those wood shavings out, so ignore me. I'm going to switch this over to a time lapse just now just to try and get this done a bit quicker, okay? So let's go to that. Right, so that's the bed out of the headstock. That was actually a lot easier than I expected it to be, I'll be perfectly honest. So, that is that bit. So the grub screw through. They just push on a copper plate, so there's actually... So that's going to be interesting to get that back in. Because I thought it would have left a couple of indentations here, so that I could line it up. But that's fine. Once I've got this all cleaned up, I'll put the tail rest back on first, and then slide it in. And before I put... That's going to be a bit of a pain actually. Because I don't want the bed to be off centre. So I have to have that up on its side to do it with the grub screws. I'm sure I'll figure something out. I could probably come up from the bottom because there's a hole in the cabinet there. But like I said, we'll figure something out. We shall figure something out. Right, tail rest. How are we going to do? That's a lot of crap there, just falling out. Right, that is a bolt going through. I do not know. Oh no, wait. I can use a flathead screwdriver as well. There is a slot in the top of that bolt. So, where is my big flathead screwdriver? Here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, it's coming loose. However, the slot in the top of it is either full of crap or my screwdriver is too big, but that is that off of there. So, this is obviously welded on with grime and muck and dirt. Also missed a bit when I was cleaning it. There we go, that's the tail rest off as well. Ignore my phone, that's just some eBay reminders. I've been going shopping happy. Right, you're just going to fall over. Right, so there's the bolt. That's actually quite a genius design. We'll get that cleaned up as well. Right, so that's that dismantled. Now, where do I start? I think I'm going to start with the bed, this bit here. So I'm going to clear this off and I will see you in a second. Right, here's the bed, everything else is over here. As you can see, there's paint up either side of this, so it looks like somebody has repainted this and not taken it apart. That's probably why it didn't want to come off so easily. But here's the bottom of it. That is disgusting. I want to get that cleaned up, but there's more paint up here where the tail rest was. From the looks of it, there's a bit of cork on there. There is cork pads underneath where the tail rest was and underneath the headstock. I'm going to be replacing them. I've got some cork in the house. But yeah, I need to get this cleaned up now. So, where is my spray bottle? There's my spray bottle. Where's my wet and dry? So, I'll probably do this, yeah. Time for a time lapse. Thanks. Right, I'm back. This bed is a lot dirtier than I thought it was, because a lot of this stuff, there's the bottom of it. Remember how bad that was right along it? It's that bad right along it. I've gotten like half of it done, but a lot of what I thought was rust, like up here, see all those score marks? That was me just scraping off what I think is wood polish or wood treatment that has just dripped down and solidified underneath it, and it was just gumming the wet and dry up completely. So I'm going to have to go back over this with something a bit harsher. Sorry, try and keep the camera in focus. But yeah, paint all over it. But I will get this cleaned up off camera. Right, I'm back. The child has been picked up from school. It's the same day, but it's about an hour later. I'm just going to carry on doing what I was doing and just cleaning up the bed of the lathe. I have got some gloves, however, because my hands got filthy earlier on. But let's just get back to that. Right, that is the bed, sanded down. Now it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than what it was. Now, there's the top side. It's reversed because I spun it around to get this end done. so that wasn't obscuring your view. And this was the worst end. So there's the top, there's the front slot, and there's the underside of it. How much better is that? You can actually run your hands along it. There is still a couple of rough bits, but I doubt I'm going to get this perfect. It did have a lot of surface rust on it. So I'm going to give this a good clean down with some water and then chuck a light coat of oil on it. Maybe go over that again, although that should be fine because it's not in the way of the track. There's a nick here, that's in the front. I might take a file to that just to get rid of it. So yeah, I'll give this a wipe down, give it a dry off, and then give it a light coat of oil just to stop any more rust building up on it. I'll just use this rag again. That's my jigsaw blades going on. Look, you can go back up there then. I'm just going to use some 3-in-1 oil because that's pretty much all I've got just now. Let's just put a light line straight along it. Come back again. I'm not even squeezing the bottle, I'm just letting gravity do its job. Fold this over to try and get a clean patch of it, and then we'll just give it a quick wipe over with an oily rag. So I can, after I've got this all oiled up and wiped down, I can set this to one side and start on the next thing, which I don't know. I could do the tail rest or I could do the headstock, but either way one of them is going to be left until the next video because it's going to be paint removal. I mean, I could leave the tail rest until the next video because that is paint removal. I could try and take the headstock apart. You know what, I'm going to do that. I'll take the headstock apart, so let's get rid of that, get rid of them. Pick this up, try not to break the light. I'm just going to pop that down there and hope to hell it doesn't fall over. Right, let's get the headstock back over now. This weighs a ton as well. Right, I'm just going to sit that back there because it's got the holes for it, so I might as well use them. Right, let's take that off. Now this is not the correct screw for holding that pulley cover down. I do have one, I ordered one on eBay and it's down in that box with all the other parts somewhere, so I'm going to try and get these two covers off. Because it's metric, I'm going to have to use an adjustable spanner, which could potentially go awry, but we shall see. Let us just pop that on there. Oh no, that's coming out quite easily actually. Something tells me that this has been opened up before. And, well, it's obviously been opened up before because you've got to take the spindle out to replace the belt, but the fact that these are coming undone so easily worries me a bit. It means that it's probably not going to put back together properly. I'm hoping that I don't have to replace the bearings because I've not managed to find any replacement ones yet. I have found some alternatives, but they're sealed, so these oil ports would be obsolete. And I don't want that. I want to be able to oil the bearings. I think the bearings that are in this just now are thrust bearings with a little oil port that you're meant to face up the way. So we shall see. I must remember and take the indexing pin out as well. Actually no, I should be able to get that plate off without taking the indexing pin out. That is filthy inside there though. Nope, that's still a bit tight. Yep. That's another washer. Down on the floor. So, have I got all those? No. There's only 2 washers. 2 out of 4. Not good, if you ask me. Not good at all. I'm going to have to cut that seam, because that is just solidly welded on there with whatever else is mixed in with the paint. I'm going to have to just slice it in. Oh, actually, never mind, that's that coming up. There we go. Oh, now, that's a lot of grease in there. Now, when I read the manual, it said not to use grease, because that can shorten the life of the bearings. But that looks like some really, really thick, filthy grease, because you're only meant to oil them. So I'm going to have to take them out and clean them as well. That's not going to be fun. Right, this side is just the same as that, so I'll speed through this and I'll see you after it. And the initial hold, there we go. Now, hopefully, if I hit this with my rubber mallet from this end, that should let that go. Doesn't appear to want to though. Is there something? Oh, wait a second. Might be these oil ports.